Okay, so today we're just going to review two-step equations just real quick. So again, if you're struggling with two-step equations, remember, first of all, the party analogy, right? So if I have a party here, I'm just going to draw one real quick. I'm not actually going to solve this, but there are certain types of guests at each party, right? You've got the host. That's the variable. Okay, then the person that hangs out with the host would be the BFF. They're the last ones to leave. Now, best friends can either be multiplying just with the variable or they could be dividing just with the variable. But if it's just tied to the variable, it's a BFF. Okay, and then the next person to leave the party would be the acquaintance. Those are those people that are adding or subtracting in your party. And then the last type of guest is your creeper. These are the guys that are hanging out in the basement, so they're underneath the entire party. There's a difference between a creeper and a best friend. Best friend can still be down in the basement, but he's just tied with the variable. Creepers have to be under the entire party, so they have to be under the whole party. Okay, so with two-step equations, there are obviously two party guests. So looking at this party, we have a best friend and we have an acquaintance. Best friend is going to leave the party after the acquaintance, right? And whenever you're solving an equation, remember you use the inverse operation, the opposite operation. So with addition, the opposite is subtraction. Okay? And then if it's multiplying, the opposite is divide. Those are the opposites there. So when we look at this one, the acquaintance is adding, so we'd have to subtract him to get him out the door, which would give me 4 is equal to x over 4. And again, when you are dividing now, you're going to see it as a fraction. We don't see this division symbol anymore. That is not going to be something you see anymore. You're just going to see it as a fraction. If it's underneath or in the denominator, that means x is being divided by 4. So to undo that, we have to multiply by 4 to each side. And that's going to give me 16 is equal to x. And once the variable is all by itself, you're done. That's your answer. Okay, let's look at another example. So again, this example, I have a best friend and I have an acquaintance. So I'm going to get rid of the acquaintance first. It's subtracting, so I would add 7 to each side. That's going to give me 9x is equal to 0. X still isn't by itself though, so I've got to undo this 9. It's multiplying with the x. When they're right next to each other, they're multiplying. So I would divide each side by 9. Now if I have nothing, and then I divide nothing 9 times, I still have nothing, right? So x is equal to 0. And that would be your answer. Okay, so on this one, I have, at this party, I have an acquaintance. And then this guy, this dude, is underneath the entire party, which means he is a creeper, right? Creepers are going to leave the party first. So the very first thing I want to do is get rid of this creeper. Now he's in the bottom of a fraction, right? So to undo that, that means he's dividing. So to undo that, I would multiply by 3 to each side. It's going to give me x plus 9 is equal to 24. And then I just got to get rid of this acquaintance. He's adding, so I'm going to subtract 9 from each side. And x is going to equal 15. X by itself, I'm done. Right? One last problem. Again, I've got a best friend and an acquaintance here. This guy's adding, so to get rid of that acquaintance, I would subtract 1. Now, when you subtract from a negative number, remember you're going more in the negative direction. So the negative direction is, think about that. Are you going to get closer to 0 if you're going in the negative direction? If you're already in the negative, or are you going to get farther away from 0? You'd be getting farther away, right? So it would be negative 81. And then that's equal to negative 9x. And then to get rid of this best friend, he's multiplying, so you divide by negative 9. And negative divided by negative is a positive, so you'd have positive 9 as your answer. And that's just a quick review of two-step equations.